All right, what we're going to be doing today is learning something called the surface area of a solid. So, walking you through, let's say we have a rectangular prism. Well, what you just learned a little bit ago was the volume. Volume is how much space is inside the whole shape. And the volume is always in units cubed. Now, let's say I take this shape and I break it up. And I just count the outside parts. So let's say here is, let's say this is 5, and this is 8, and this is 3. Let's say this is 5 inches, 8 inches, 3 inches. So if I were to break this up into shapes, I would say I have two 5 by 8 rectangles, which consists of the front and the back. I have two top and bottom rectangles, which are, this is 8 by 3. And then I have this right side and left side, which is 5, and the bottom side is 3. So I have 2, 5, and 3. I'm just pointing out the lengths of the sides. The reason why I'm only listing 2 is because if I find the area of this, which is length times width, 40, plus 40, plus 24, 8 times 3 is 24, plus 15, plus 15. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I add all of these numbers up together, it's going to tell me the area of all the outside shapes added together. So let's do that. 40 and 40 is 80. 80, 24 and 24 is 48. So let's go 80 plus 48 plus 15 and 15 is 30. It's going to give me 158 inches cubed. This is called my surface area. The surface area, the definition that I kind of wrote out was the amount of outside shapes needed to create a solid shape. The area of all the outside shapes of this figure that's needed to create this actual figure. That's called the surface area. So on the notes, if you were to unfold this, it would probably look something like this, where this would be this part would be this, and this part would be this, and then when you fold this part over, you get the top. This is the bottom, and then if you fold these two sides up, you get the front and back side. This is an unfolded picture of this. Now what I do is I give you another shape, and I talk about finding the surface area of this. So let's take that rectangular prism that I drew out for you. So here's what it looks like if you're just looking at it from the top on. What you don't see is that this is actually a rectangle back here. There's a rectangle, or there's a triangle here, a triangle here, a rectangle here. You have two solid sides, this side and this side. There's 5 figures that create this shape. This is called a triangular prism. And I said this was 5 and this was 6, 11. The height of this was 4. And then what I did is I technically took this and unfolded it. And I showed you kind of what this looks like if it's unfolded. It looks something like this, where this is 11, this is 11. The distance from here to here is 6. The distance from here to here is 5, and this is 5. This is a bad drawing, but you get the picture. And then the height of this is 4. This is, if I just took these two sides here and back here, and I unfolded it. The reason why this is important is because now you can look and see, oh, I have 1, 2, 3 rectangles and 2 triangles that create this shape. So if I found the area of these 3 rectangles and these 2 triangles, I would have the total surface area of this whole shape. And I give you some examples and I give you some questions, technically, of what to do. The very first one is, what I like to do is, I like to just draw out all of the shapes. So if I have this shape, this is 7, this is 2, and this is 5, I'm going to just draw these shapes out, kind of like what I did here, to make it nice and easy. So I'm going to do this first front one right here. This is base times height, which is 7. The height is 5. But I have 2 of these. And now I'm going to take this right here and this back one right here, which are exactly the same. So I'm going to draw these 2 smaller ones where the base is 2 and the height is 5. Okay, and next I'm going to take this bottom one and this top one. So I'm going to draw 2 more where the base is 2, the base is 7 and the height is 2. Now, if I add the area of all of these together, I'm going to get the total surface area. Now, I think is the easiest way to do it is if you just break it down into individual shapes. So 7 times 5, this is 35, plus 35, plus 10, plus 10, plus 14, plus 14. Base times height, base times height, or length times width, same thing. Anyways, 35 and 35 is 70. 10 is 20. 14 is 28. So 70 plus 20 is 90 plus 28 is equal to 108. 108 units squared. That is the surface area of this shape. Let's try another one that's probably a little more difficult. And this one is going to be a trapezoid. So a trapezoidal prism, meaning it's a trapezoid. It's like kind of like a nugget of gold. Looks like that. What you cannot see is you can't see that this is actually a trapezoid in the back. So I have 2 trapezoids, front and back. So I'm going to draw those 2 trapezoids. But I know they're identical, so I'm just going to multiply this times 2. This bottom base is 8. This top base is 6. The height is 4. Okay, I'm going to add that together with, I have 2 identical left and right side shapes. And I'm going to say I have 2, so I'm going to multiply this answer by 2. I have 2 identical rectangles where the base is what is the other side? Oh, I don't draw that. I forgot to draw the length on that. Let's say this right here, let's say this right here is 5. The edge is 5. So it's going to be 5 and the base is 10 because this is 10. 10 times 5 and then 10 times 5. Plus, I have this big bottom rectangle, which is length times width, which is 8 times 10. Plus, now I have also this tiny rectangle on top. And this is 6 times 10. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of these together. This is easy. 6 times 10 is 60. 8 times 10 is 80. I have 2 of these. 5 times 10 is 50, but I have 2, which is going to give me 100. Now, do you remember how to find the area of a trapezoid? It's 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times the height, which is 1/2 of 8 plus 6. Those are the two bases, which is 14, times the height of 4. Half of 14 is 7 times 4, which is 28. But I have 2 of them. 28 and 28 is going to give me 56. So my answer is 56, because that consists of this and the back trapezoid. 56 plus 100 plus 80 plus 60, which is going to give me 296 units. Remember, when there's no units in measure, you just write units, and then if it's area, it's squared. If it's volume, it's cubed. All right, let's see if you can do the last one. The last one was this one right here in the notes that we didn't do. So what I'm going to do is, here's the shape. Now let's see if you can find. What I did is I drew out the 2 triangles here and here. The rectangle right here is at the bottom. And this side and this side are exactly the same here and here. See if you can find the surface area of this. Pause the video and see if you can find it. All right, if you pause the video, let's see if we can do this. Base times height, which is 55. Base times height, which is 55. Base times height, which is 66. This triangle is the area of the base, which is 6, times the height, which is 4, divided by 2. So 6 times 4 is 24, divided by 2, which is 12. Or you could just say half of the base, which is half of 6 is 3, times 4, 12. And this top is 12. So once again, going over this, this is 55 units. This is 55 units. This is 66 units. This one right here. This is 12 units, and this is 12 units. I'm going to add all of these together, and I get something called my surface area, which is the outside area. 55 plus 66 plus 55 plus 12 plus 12 is going to give me a total of 200 units squared. And I'm using units because I don't know if it's inches or meters or centimeters or whatever. So this was an example of how to find the surface area. Remember, surface area is the outside. It's the outside area of each individual shape added up together.